How did I start collecting Kiss? Kiss are a super effective commercial marketing machine. And I was a super sucker. So anything that was Kiss, I wanted. Hello Everhouse, I am Gianni and this is my Kiss collection. I saw a vinyl in a shop and I was like, wow, what's this, man? Blew me away, you know, the makeup, the blood and everything. Kiss's music was very appealing. Keep in mind, 12-year-old talking about rock and rolling all night and love guns and all that, so it was like, ooh. But more than anything, they influenced how I looked at performing. I started playing in some college stuff like that. Then that led to radio. I started working a bit in television. So that's how my love for music grew and my love for guitar grew, thanks to Kiss and many other bands that came along, but Kiss were always the main focus. Quite a number of years ago, Kiss started doing these meet and greets, where you can meet up with the band and you get to chat a little bit with them and all. And I obviously started doing those because it was always a dream to be able to meet Kiss. And then you can start meet and greets and you can start buying a guitar which they stage play and they've toured with it. And that's how it really exploded. Once you start meeting them, you go crazy. When I first met Paul Stanley, a couple of meet and greets, and then I had wanted a stage played guitar, but then obviously I wanted the toured guitar. And that I got a few years ago when I met him in Italy. I remember he played I Was Made for Loving You and Love Gun, two killer Kiss songs, always using this guitar. And that's the one I wanted, so that came my way. I wanted my daughter to carry on. I wanted her to meet Kiss, and we had done a meet and greet in London, and that's where I got the smashed guitar. So that's the smashed guitar and the microphone. Those are stage played, stage smashed and used, and this is lipstick all over it, which I will leave in my will to my daughter, which I know she's not going to do much with, but you know, you try your best. Apart from the guitars, there are some unique pieces of Kiss that I love. I have a fire hat. The fire hat was worn by Paul Stanley during the song Firehouse on a New Year's Eve concert in 1982 or 1983. Quite a unique piece, quite sought after, and I love that. Comics have always been very much linked to Kiss because of the characters, the personas and all. In 1978, they had done this gimmick where they poured their blood into the red ink and it was printed in Kiss blood. So yes, they know how to milk the commercial cow. Another unique piece is the Kiss Monster book. This was they call it a coffee table book. I don't know what kind of coffee table you have to have. It's a 25-kilo book. It's massive, enormously heavy and beautiful, high quality print. I wouldn't say it was very successful for Kiss because there are a very limited number running around. Managed to get my hands on a Swedish one. Only opened it once, so I'm opening it with you again to go through it. But it's a beautiful, highly collectible piece, and that's why I love it. Following Paul Stanley, the star child of Kiss, the next good guy is Gene Simmons, the Demon. Never really a bassist myself, but always fascinated by obviously his persona. Again, getting to meet him over the years, loves hanging around with the fans and chit-chatting and all. And I managed to get a stage-played bass guitar, the Axe, but the one that he spits blood on, where he plays God of Thunder. So it's all trickled with a chemical, which I have a cup of. And you know, you get to meet him after the gig where he'll be knackered, sweating all blood. There's also a prototype when Steve Carr, a guy who was making Gene Simmons' basses back then, was messing around trying out some shapes. A Steve Carr signed Axe from the 80s. Another cool item I have is the Gene Simmons Vault. This comes with a meet and greet. I met Gene Simmons in London. But what's cool about it is Gene Simmons calls you on a phone call to thank you. Chatting about music, but then we end up talking about politics. Can you believe? 10 minutes to chat with Gene Simmons and we end up talking about politics. But you know, you get talking. Obviously, Gene Simmons is also known for his costumes. I have a pair of boots I've worn on stage when I had impersonated Gene Simmons at Rockestra. Big national event with the whole national orchestra, 10,000 people, and I was there as Gene Simmons singing a couple of songs. Not easy to walk in those 7-inch heels, but obviously once you're the Demon, you can fly. When talking about Kiss though, the person everybody wanted to be was Ace Frehley. And I have what I call the sisters, the number ones of the 1959 reissue. I have the artist proof and the number one both belonged to Ace Frehley, both played by him and signed by him. So that's where my heart beats. A couple of other Ace Frehley guitars, but otherwise those are my hip replacements if I ever need. Not all guitars, but if you know what guitars to buy, they appreciate in value. You can look at them as investments as well. But the plan is that, yes, you invest in a number of guitars, you hold on to them for 10, 15, 20 years, and then you can resell to go and buy some other guitars. So there is the investment side to it, so it's not just a collection for me to enjoy, which is 99% of what it is there for. But there is that 1% which is, well, it's an investment, I'm a banker. Bruce Kulick, another guitarist, personal friend of mine, I dare say. Never met him, but we chat quite often. I have a multi-swirl guitar, which was an iconic 1985 guitar, which he reproduced. Love it. And Vincent is probably one of the hardest guys to get because he's very, let's say, particular. But I do have a Jackson Flying V in gold, which he signed, which is another quite a unique piece. Another Kiss member, Eric Carr, sadly passed away, but I have this iconic vision of his massive drum kit, all chrome with the Chikara on it, and thanks to an auction, which I like to say I won. I didn't win, I bid and I won. It's a massive bass drum, part of that drum kit, and it is one of my best pieces. One of the nicest guys of Kiss though is Eric Singer, the current drummer. You can chat forever with him. I managed to get a snare drum following one of the gigs, signed up, and also one of his cymbals, which I use as a lamp. I know I shouldn't, but it's too cool. In 1979, Kiss did a movie. I'm gonna be honest, awful movie, but it's cult now. And I just love the posters because my grandfather owned a cinema in Malta, and I remember seeing the poster of the movie. I haven't managed to get the Maltese one, but I've got the French version and the American version and the Italian version. A number of years ago, I was in touch with a guy in the States who actually sprayed the American flag on Paul Stanley's guitar. He said, I wonder if I'll get the Maltese flag done. So I got in touch with the guy and he was like, super idea, I love it. Shipped him one of my guitars over. He spray painted with the Maltese flag using the same red that was used on the Kiss guitars and sent it back, and that's one of my prized possessions. Obviously, like any true Kiss fan, I flew to New York for the last two shows, Madison Square Garden, December 2023. I have the gold ticket that was given to anybody who attended the gig, saying that you were there for the last Kiss show ever. That is, bittersweet, but yeah. Around here, you'll see lots of other guitars. The Jim Carra, the chrome guitar. Jim is obviously linked to Kiss. He makes Ace Frehley's guitars, but that chrome one is a unique piece which he had made for a Hot Wheels collection. The Tom Petty, one of 100, Gibson Acoustic SJ200, beautiful guitar. On this rack here, this is my first guitar. It's an Ibanez Roadster, the second series. I've used it all throughout my childhood. I don't use it anymore because it's too precious to me. And there's a 1972 Gibson Gold Top. Why 1972? The best year I was born. So as you can see, this collectible bug is a virus, not just a bug. Apart from Kiss, another band that I love are the Foo Fighters. I love them from day one. Thankfully, I got to meet one of the Foo Fighters, and I've managed to get a guitar signed by all the band, including Taylor Hawkins, who sadly is no longer with us. Those are super deep in my heart, in my collection. The big question that I always ask is there ever enough? Is there ever going to be an end to this? And unfortunately, I'm discovering that the answer is no. The plan was, to sell 3 or 4 guitars to buy a more unique piece. The buying is happening, the selling isn't though. I have to start selling some guitars to buy more unique pieces. Don't get me wrong. Till now, we're not working very well in that system, but we'll get there. I will sell a few to buy a few unique pieces. One day, maybe one day.